The collapse of Helldivers 2 is something that is going to be studied in video game spaces for a long time. You remember at the beginning of this year, it was the biggest story in all of gaming. This sequel to a top-down shooter that ended up amassing over 400,000 concurrent players, crashing servers, breaking records in the process. You had a little AA studio working overtime in order to appease the fans. They had a very good relationship, and then the PSN account scandal came out, and then toxic community managers started to speak out louder than the representatives at the company. One thing led to another. Weeks turned into months, and players found other games to play. Because let's be completely honest, you got a live service game, there's only so much that you can do, okay? There's only so many people that are going to come back for their dailies or their weeklies. You're foolish to think that you're going to be like, the next CSGO, the next LoL, next Overwatch to maintain 6-digit concurrent player bases. Like, that's just not how this stuff works. So yeah, a little bit of sag in player base, well, that's to be expected. And then, of course, you'd anticipate a little bit of a recoup period when you have your next big update. And well, here we are in the aftermath of the first big update. And well, anyways, Helldivers 2 patch sparks all-out player revolt. Rebels respond by sabotaging the Galactic War and putting Super Earth in peril. Believe it or not, it seems a large segment of the Helldivers 2 community has revolted. In doing so, the Rebels hope to send a strong message to the developers by bringing fire to the skies of Super Earth itself. It all started with a flamethrower in the latest update of Helldivers 2. The flamethrower saw a nerf. This ignited a storm of controversy with players. A response to the gaming community has been so intense that it prompted CEO of Arrowhead Studios, Shams Jornji, to address the backlash directly. Many of us are disappointed on a few levels. Shams also wanted to make clear that he heard the community and that actions matter. All right. He had a Discord post here that got retweeted by an update page. I haven't spoken to everyone, of course, but many of us are disappointed on a few levels. On the one hand, the update had a bunch of nice stuff that isn't getting talked about, maybe deservedly so. And many aren't happy with the latest balance round. I think more broadly, it also has us discussing the path ahead and what we can do to avoid the situation again. Internal learnings, more challenges, or changes in process, etc. I think a lot of you fairly point out what that WTF. We went through this earlier this year. Why are we here again? Hate sounding like a broken record, but we have long lead times on development. It really shouldn't be something you trot out as an excuse. We've already been here, but that takes a long time to do this stuff. It show you the results of weeks and months of development work. Some changes take time before they show, and B, not a lot of time has passed between now and June balance round, and most of the people are still on vacation. But it really doesn't fundamentally to me that we still need to improve a lot of understanding what players want and marry to those development process. We want to release to be the step in the right direction, constant improvement. I don't think we feel that this was that. We need to do better. It's also clear that me just talking about it isn't enough. Actions matter. But yeah, here we are again, them running back the exact same tripe. One particularly fascinating aspect of this protest is unfolding within the game itself. Players have begun organizing what can only be described as a virtual insurrection. They are allowing the enemy automatons to advance unchecked towards Super Earth. A user on the game's subreddit captured the sentiment and the rallying cry, "Let the bots advance, let Super Earth burn," a phrase borrowed from Warhammer 40k's trailer, The Horus Heresy. This was an event where a key character betrays the Emperor of Mankind. At time of writing, the automatons are inching closer to Super Earth. Although they remain 2 systems away, the forces are currently concentrating on Curia, where the defenders of Super Earth, numbering between 1,300 and 1,500 players, are losing ground at a rate of 1.2% per hour, according to the data from Helldivers.io. This raises concern for the fate of the ongoing Galactic War, particularly given the game's player base numbers around 38,000 active participants. And yeah, that's the thing, because we got the Steam charts that are right here, and that would be a little bit generous, because you take a look at the numbers that are right here, and brother, there was a little bit of a peak at the time that the expansion dropped, 62,000 players, but as you can see, right back down to about 50, okay? And now it's starting to take a nosedive here, back down to 37, a far cry from its 450,000 player peak, and about a third of where the player base was not but 2 months ago. Shit has proverbially hit the fan. Adding complexity to the situation, the current major order, the game directs players to defend Troost and Vandalon 4. Directive seems to be creating a scenario where players must juggle battle on 2 fronts. As a result, several possibilities arise. Players might be mindlessly following the game's mission markers and neglecting the threat to Super Earth, which it could be an attempt to quickly secure the 2 target planets before returning to defend the core. But all that said, as this player protest continues to unfold, it is clear that the Helldivers 2 community is determined to make their voices heard. From the initial success and the mistakes, it seems Helldivers across the globe want to be heard. And yeah, here's the thing. If they turn this around and make it a good game, there is still a vocal enough fan base that is there, giving the game a chance to be great again. It's just, are we going to see this turn around? Chances are probably not. Okay, because from the wider outside community where you're going to have to draw in more eyeballs, it's landing on deaf ears. Okay, so this is Grums responding to a post, okay, from a player. Hey Grums, that massive update isn't massive, mostly cosmetic like the rest of the battle pass updates. They F themselves here. We needed fun guns and new enemies for months at this point, and instead choose to nerf weapons and piss off the player base. Yeah, exactly, and agreed. But Arrowhead and Sony marketed it as huge, released a video with CEO and founder, promoted it as their biggest Helldivers update ever. Ooh, yeah, so they understood that this really wasn't that big of an announcement, this really wasn't that big of an update, but then had the audacity to lie to the player base again. It failed to move the meter, because yeah, there you have the PlayStation, the official account, tweeting this stuff out. Free major updates. Biggest update yet on August 6th. And yeah, we go back to the Steam charts on this one, August 6th. Yep, there's your big increase, okay? You double your player base that has already wilted away because it's not as major of an update. It was a nerfing where you required new gameplay aspects. That's the thing, okay? When you have the atrophy of the player base, okay? When you go from 450,000 players down to 30,000, which is still quite a significant player base. Here's the thing. You need new reasons. You need new content that's in there to draw back in the people that like the gameplay to begin with. They need to engage with things in a new way, with new objectives, with new enemies. But you didn't do that. That was something that I was hearing from the people that were big on this back in February and March. That, yeah, it's super fun right now, but I can see this getting long in the tooth. The maps, they're starting to get samey. We could use some new enemies, and they'd be listing off different examples, but instead of listening to that critique, well, Arrowhead just decided to not at all pay attention to the legitimate concerns. Helldivers are protesting Arrowhead by allowing the bot faction to invade Super Earth. This is the worst management of a hugely promising game. They have no idea how to manage PvE balance and content updates. Stop the addiction to nerfs, provide real content updates instead of endless balance tweaks, make the war meta mean many potential fixes. Helldivers 2 can be fixed. In weird gaming news, Helldivers 2 remaining player base got so fed up with the state of the game's development that the patch direction that they're allowing the bot faction to invade Super Earth. Honestly, writing about Arrowhead's attitude was on the wall since month 1. Yes, exactly, where they would run back the same defense that, oh yeah, we're listening to players. And in reality, you guys were just simply paying lip service to this stuff, because that's the ever encroaching map that's out there, and it doesn't look good for things. Like I said, I like to shine a light on the gaming industry. I think that, talking more about what used to be one of my biggest passions that's out there will hopefully make a difference, because I think gaming can be saved. I see a lot of good stuff coming out of the East. I also see them trying to adopt some failing policies from the West, but at this point in time, all of that, dark money, it's starting to dry up, so I don't imagine that the likes of Capcom, Square Enix, we've already seen them make strides in cleaning up their act, but Capcom flirting with disaster, I don't think that that's going to end up lasting for all that long. And when it comes to restructuring on Western shores, if anything hasn't been closed down by Microsoft or any other Western subsidiary at the beginning of the year, sure as hell is going to be closed down by the end of the year. And that we're going to start to see real healing occur very, very soon. So I have hope for the industry. It's just, like all things, man, it's going to be darkest before the dawn, and there's still going to be some hurt to go around, and it looks like Helldivers 2, especially in the hands of Arrowhead, we're going to go ahead and make excuses instead of provide solutions game studios. I don't see this being a ripping off the Band-Aid type scenario. I see this as a leeches and amputation solution. Let's just see if they're smart enough to implement the changes that they need. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. Watch it, follow your gut, and get after it. Take care, everyone.